This is Get Off My Lawn Live. Join us as we talk trending topics, world and local issues, and the conversations that we need to talk about as people. Get Off My Lawn Live is a Nighthawk Network presentation. Good evening, everybody. This is your boy, Eric Buckner, EB in the building. And this is, of course, my show, Get Off My Lawn Live. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody's doing well and everything is going good in your world, wherever you may be. Things are going good here. But, of course, we are here this evening to talk to you guys about the things that we don't often talk about, or things that just basically are of concern to me, or things I think we should discuss. Among them tonight are a couple of FYIs in regards to certain things you may need to be aware of. And then, of course, tonight's main topic will be life after COVID. In other words, what are some of the things that I'm looking at in terms of what will happen after we get past the real wave of COVID? Some of the issues that we will have that we need to figure out where we go from here. So that being said, the usual, I mentioned the word COVID, people running like, I don't know what. It's just, hey, we here. We got to get there till we get there. So it's going to come up on the show, folks. What can I tell you? It is what it is. I understand I'm chasing away part of my audience every week by saying this, but I got to keep it 100. So that being said, we are going to hit the usual commercial breaks. We have time to reset and focus and share the live to folks and all that good stuff. And when we come back, we are going to talk about the trending topics and all that good stuff. So that being said, we will not even hold you up, y'all. This is Get Off My Lawn Live. I am E-Beezy, and we about to get it in. Let's go.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Behind the Blue Curtain, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Unscripted talk on police reform and race relations.
And now, Behind the Blue Curtain's law enforcement liaison, retired 32-year Chicago police veteran, homicide detective, former commander, sergeant, grant writer, lecturer, and adjunct professor, Joseph J. Mosley.
Night Network presents Pastor Sean Love. Pastor Sean Love, devoted father and husband, and residing pastor at the River Rouge Bible Assembly in River Rouge, Michigan. Join him as he gives us messages from God's Word, Bible study, and encouragement. You can find him on YouTube under Sean Love. The views and opinions expressed here on Get Off My Lawn Live are those of the host or his guests and do not necessarily reflect those of the Nighthawk Network or its associates. Viewer and listening discretion is advised. What's going on, people? I am back. Get Off My Lawn Live here. Eric Buckner here, ready to talk to y'all about this week's topics and subjects, trending topics, all that good stuff. Of course, as we know what the main trending topic is, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the show, but I actually want to start off the show with a couple FYI informations. First of all, let us talk about a little something that several of us are probably familiar with to some degree, but we definitely need to keep an eye on. That would be this particular object here. This is, of course, known to several of you as a Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin, also known as electronic money, there are several different types of Bitcoins that are being set up throughout the world in terms of monetary money that can be passed electronically. It is said to be the wave of the future that eventually we will all stop using paper money and coin money and just basically deal primarily in Bitcoin. The problem is, people, Bitcoin is hard to track. It is something that some people have a very clear knowledge of, other people not so much. Now, of course, you know, us as Americans, we have been bred to say, hey, whatever we can use to make money, the more the better, multiple streams of income, all of that. So, of course, there are several people, some of them actually even in the network, that do Bitcoin and have asked to be on the show to explain what Bitcoin is. The problem I have with that is most of the people that I've known to have dealt with Bitcoin have had a very bad experience with it, to the point where they have been scammed out of money, where their lack of full understanding of how it works has led to them to lose thousands upon thousands of dollars. And I do not want to be a part of something that could potentially be that. Bitcoin is a gamble, much like stock market and other things, but it's a bigger gamble in that it is not regulated by most government. In other words, there are some things being set up now to where the government are looking to tax Bitcoin and things of that nature. But right now, there's still a lot of unknowns in regards to the whole thing. And I just don't think it is a wise investment personally. Now, I understand there are those of you who say, well, I didn't did Bitcoin, I've made such and such money and what have you. But because it's electronically controlled, that means that it can be electronically dealt with as well. I mean, how many times have you had computer issues today? Even I had computer issues here. We almost didn't have a show today because of my computer issues. But, you know, those were minor compared to one day you got an account that you done put $40,000 of actual cash in. And now Bitcoin says you have double that. And now Bitcoin says that no longer exists. That is the type of risk you're taking when doing these Bitcoin things. So I say to you guys, please do as much research as you can. This is still a relatively new technology. Like I said, there are some people that feel they are very versed in it. They want to basically educate you. At this time, I'm not looking to bring any of you on the show, my friends, that are Bitcoin people. Lord knows there have been several people who have hit up the Nighthawk Network information page about it. There's been people that's hit up my Instagram about it. I have no desire at this time to do any Bitcoin mining or anything of the like. So please, if that is what you have to offer in terms of, hey, check this out, you can do this, this, and this, I myself not interested. Okay, we got comments going on. Hey, friend Eric. Hey, friend Amy. Thanks for checking in. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming through as always. The show is always better when Amy is in the building. You know I say that all the time, and I very much mean it. I love you, Amy. But in terms, again, of the Bitcoin, for those of you who have reached out to come on the show to discuss Bitcoin, we are not having any Bitcoin discussions here at this time. I understand yours is different and yours didn't make out like that and so on and so forth. But right now, there's a lot more to not trust about Bitcoin than to trust about it. So at this point, I'm not looking to promote that in any way, shape, or form. Feel free to take that to other people in the network. Maybe they will have you on the show to discuss about it. But as far as my show, Get Up Along Live, no thank you. Same goes here on Bigo. You have that. A couple of you have come to me with something in regards to Bitcoin. No thank you. No thank you. Not interested. So that being said, we will move on to the second item up for bids. This is something that we all need to take an interest in because there are several stories within the last 3 months in regards to a device that we call an AirTag. Now, what is an AirTag? Why should it be concerned to you and all of that? Well, we have a few videos that we have here to present to you guys to discuss that very thing. And then at that point, we can have some discussion. So let me see. I believe this is the first one here. Let's go with it.
Apple AirTags are $30 Bluetooth doodads that are supposed to help you find lost items with your phone.
But someone could also use one to stalk you by hiding it in your backpack, car, or bike. If someone plants an AirTag on you, it's up to your ear or your iPhone to find it. Let me show you what that would look like for a victim.
First, an AirTag will start to beep when it's moved and its owner's iPhone is nowhere around, but only after 3 days. If there's an AirTag planted in your bag, you'd hear it beeping in a quiet room, but it's not particularly loud, and muffling it is as easy as this. "3 days also allows for a lot of stalking. Apple says it might change the time before it beeps in the future. And there's another stalking warning built into AirTags, but it only works if you own an iPhone 6S or newer. If your iPhone notices an AirTag moving around with you that doesn't belong to you, it will pop up an alert when it thinks you get home. Once you know that, then you can use your Find My app to make the hidden AirTag start beeping, though this didn't always work for me, and the Find My app doesn't help you locate an unwanted hidden tag. Beware, there's also a setting someone could try to change on your phone that prevents you from getting any safety alerts.
Apple has done a better job than competitors with similar products at warning us about stalking, but you should still be aware of how AirTags could be used against you.
So yes, that is the Apple AirTag. And initially, as it was said, it was used, or the supposed usage was to attach to certain things that you lost on a continuous basis, so that if you were to lose them, you could basically alert this tag. This tag would send off the signal, and then you could find it from there, something like your keys or something along those lines. But people are now using these things to track people. And it's not a good thing, folks. Understand they are very inexpensive to purchase. Many of the younger people in particular have the Apple phones. They prefer them over the Android phones, obviously. But then, of course, if you are an Android user, just straight up Android user, you do not know about these Apple tags. You're not aware of them. So that's why we're having this discussion right now. All right. I've heard about this kind of thing. It's good that you're talking about it. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. I felt it was important because there are a lot of good uses for the thing, obviously, but then there are bad uses for it as well. And that's what this next video will talk about, because people are definitely using them in ways that are not good. Here is one such scenario.
There is a new crime trend you're going to need to know about. It uses some iPhone technology.
But as Jessica O tells us live, a lot of people have no idea how they could possibly be victimized or even what these devices are. Jessica, how does this work?
Well, Alex, this small device may be what criminals are now using to follow people home. We know that it happened at least 2 times at the Topanga area recently, where people came home to find one of these stuck on their car. And now officials are worried that this is becoming the latest crime trend.
I'm constantly, looking behind me, looking around me.
The crime trends currently plaguing LA County already have shoppers on edge. But LAPD's Topanga division is now warning people about what could be a new wave of crime.
This is just the latest technology that the crooks are using to follow people, to take them down, to rob them.
Criminals are now using Apple's AirTags to follow people home. Detectives say at least 2 people in Topanga discovered the device on their vehicle recently. One victim had a newer model car. The other victim told police they think someone attached an AirTag to their car while they were out shopping. Retired LAPD officer Dennis Zine has heard of this wave of crime hitting Canada and fears it has now made its way down to Southern California.
And you can go down the street and around the block, you're not going to see them, but they'll be following you, and they could follow you on a device.
It's a big concern. I mean, they could get in your house, they could hijack your car. They could do anything.
Law enforcement officials say what's even more concerning is that most people still don't even know what AirTags are.
Haven't got a clue.
Apple what?
Part of the reason why these crimes are taking place is because people actually don't know how AirTags fully work.
Technology expert Shruti Shaker says these small $30 button-like devices are meant to keep track of things like your keys and even your pets. But she says AirTags can also be very easy to misuse.
So you could slip an AirTag into someone's bag and track an individual, which is really, really concerning.
It could be anywhere. I mean, you're not going to go underneath everything to try to look,
For people in Topanga, hearing that a follow home robbery could happen because of a tiny device is alarming.
Oh, yeah, definitely, because that's putting my family in danger coming home.
And people may not be aware that it's here, but it's here, and it's just going to continue to grow.
And detectives say that both of the victims in this area had iPhones and also received notifications that these AirTags were nearby. So experts say that one thing you can try to do to try to prevent this from happening to you is to keep a very close eye on all of the available Bluetooth connections. Reporting live in Topanga tonight, I'm Jessica O, Fox 11 News.
All right, Jessica, thank you.
So yeah, there it is, y'all. This is the newest, latest thing. And understand, part of why we're having this discussion tonight is we can get ahead of this before it becomes the latest trend, the latest thing that everybody's using to commit crimes with. The quicker we can shut this down so that that part of technology does not become a thing to use. Now, understand, we can see people using this for a variety of things. They've used it to track cars and then eventually find where that car is located on a regular basis and carjack the car. They have used it to stalk certain celebrities and find out where they secretly live and then find them. They've been used for that. Basically, as you see, you can sit them right in pretty much anything. Understand, we're talking about a device that's slightly bigger than this cap here, okay? That could fit virtually anywhere. It could fit up under a car. It fits in a purse. It fits in somebody's pocket. It fits a variety of different places. And you basically get tracked, and for days, the device won't even go off, so you won't even know if it's there or not. Okay, hold on here. Conspiracy theory. Apple wasn't selling enough iPhones, so they are telling the public so they will buy iPhones to detect tracking devices. Interesting you should say that, Amy. We definitely will get into that a little bit more in a minute, because, of course, that is part of the issue, perhaps, that they are not selling enough Apple 13s. understand that these tracking devices basically work from anything Apple 6 and down. So if you want to utilize that, then obviously that'd be a good reason to buy a phone. I could definitely see that. But in the same token, the concern is that one, as you say, the iPhone sales may be down, but perhaps there is something further on down the pike in terms of these tags, and they actually want to sell more tags. So they count on the criminal element to utilize those $30 tags more so they can bring out the next thing, as in the tag tracker or the advanced tag and so on. I'm kidding entirely, but it's still mildly plausible. It is quite plausible. And like I said, that's kind of thinking outside the box, but that's what people like you and I do, Amy. So I get that. But truth be told, people, my greatest concern for this is that when you are tracking somebody with this device, you can use it for two very, very not good reasons. One, let's just say you are a person and you were in a bad relationship that was broken up on. In other words, you were broke up with and you did not like the way it went down and you still refuse to let go of said individual and you want to know they everything and all the things. So you get one of these trackers, you slip it in a purse or something on the way out the door, and you basically stalked it. So that now you pretty much know everywhere they go and everywhere they not go. And you just pop up at your convenience because you got the tracking system right there on your phone to figure out everywhere that they are. Not to mention you could keep a log of how long they've been in this place and that place and so on and so forth. So that's definitely not good. But my greater concern is that, okay, you use this and you, of course, can slip this in somebody's book bag on a little coat and whatnot. And now you're able to track someone's child. And you basically get to track in their back and forth movements when they go to school, when they're not in school, where they're at in school, so on and so forth. And then you utilize that device to catch that child and do who knows what. That is my greatest concern with that. And as oblivious as these kids are, they would have that thing on their person all this time and they wouldn't know nothing. Probably wouldn't even pay attention to the little beeping sign, any of that. But you ask, what can we do to kind of help us in regards to these tags? There is a video that talks about that. And then I have another thing to discuss in regards to that as well. So let me see. I believe that is this video here.
Some tech experts say Apple's new lost items tracking device is a stalking risk. The Apple AirTags allow owners to hunt down misplaced belongings with impressive precision. But experts say it's not difficult for people to misuse the small round chips. Some add they could facilitate stalking and become tools for potentially domestic abusers. The tech company has built in some warnings to prevent dangerous situations, but critics say it's not enough. Jeffrey Fowler is a tech columnist for The Washington Post. He tested just how easily AirTags can potentially put people in danger, and he joins me now. Jeff, welcome. So tell us more about how the Apple AirTags work, and tell us especially, I'm very interested in knowing the tests that you ran to evaluate the security of these devices.
Yeah, Lana. Well, these are, I brought one here with me. These are these little $30 doodads that you can attach to your keys or your bag. And they let you know, you can use your iPhone, they let you know where they are at all times. And the way they do that is they connect to any iPhone that's out there in the world, almost 1 billion of them, to share their location back to the owner of the AirTags phone. And that's super handy if you maybe lose some keys in the park and you need to find them again. But the problem is that someone could also slip one of these, into your bag or into your car or some other belonging of yours without you knowing it. And so that's what I tested with a colleague at the Washington Post. With my permission, I let him set up one of these AirTags, pair it with his own iPhone, and then slip it in my bag, and then spend a week tracking me. And it was terrifyingly good at it. When I was riding my bike around town, it could update him on my whereabouts every couple of minutes as I just moved around town. When I was at home, it actually even gave him my exact home address at those moments. So, it's a double-edged sword with this kind of technology, and I think we need to talk more about it.
Yeah. This isn't Apple's first tracking service. So how do these Apple AirTags put victims, specifically of domestic abuse or stalking, more at risk?
Yeah, so there have been Bluetooth tracking devices like these before. There's a company called Tile that has been in this business for a long time. The reason why I think people like me are raising the alarm about AirTags is because when Apple gets involved, we're talking about a whole other scale. These tap into literally every iPhone out there, a billion different devices. And that means that suddenly Apple has created a massive new surveillance network that's available to people. The other reason why it's important is these are really inexpensive. And while there are other technologies that unfortunately abusers use to try to track people, including little GPS devices they can stick on cars or stalkerware software that they might try to install on a victim's phone, this is cheaper. This is much easier to use, and it's tiny and really easy to hide. It takes a battery that lasts a year. So it is unfortunately a really effective technology for potentially using to stalk.
So, Jeff, you heard me mention that there are some warnings. How has Apple responded to your reporting, and what are they doing to try and combat the dangerous potential security issues associated with these AirTags?
Yeah, this was sort of the central thing that I was testing. So when Apple introduced these, they said, look, we're going to have some first in the industry protections to stop what they call unwanted tracking. And I said, well, let's see how good they are. Let's see how well they work. The first of them is if an AirTag is separated from its owner's iPhone for 3 days, it will start making a sound. And actually, I know we're on live TV right now, but let me see if I can make it go off so you can hear what that looks like. Can you hear that? So this is the warning.
Put it close to your mic.
Sure. The point is, it's not very loud, and it only lasts about that long.
Yeah.
And so that's the only warning that one of these AirTags is going to give you to let you know that one has been following you around unless you own an iPhone. Now, if you own an iPhone, there are a couple more things that it will do. If your iPhone notices that an AirTag that doesn't belong to you has been traveling around with you, it might pop up a notice when you get home. I got those as well. But again, they weren't super effective. They didn't help me find the AirTag that was being used to track me very well. And the biggest problem of all, it doesn't work for the half of Americans who use Android phones. And so we really need to have a much bigger picture about how to address this.
So you're almost answering what I was going to ask you next, which is there a way that you can know if these devices are following you, if one has been slipped into yourself? It sounds like, aside from really listening very carefully for that little noise or having an iPhone yourself, is there anything else that you can do, Jeff?
Well, definitely folks should be aware of these signals that are out there, what that sounds like, so that if you hear it, you'll know that something is up, or what those alerts will look like on an iPhone. But frankly, Apple needs to do more, and so does the entire industry. The truth is that this is just the beginning, right? More and more of these kinds of tracking devices are going to be out there, this kind of technology. The idea of connecting everyday things to the internet is just, in its very earliest stages. So really, this is something that the industry is going to have to get together to address. We can't have, a solution that the typical Apple solution to a problem like this is, just buy Apple devices, buy an iPhone, and then you'll get an alert. No, we need to be able to have Android phones get these alerts and other things. So I think that ultimately is where we're going. That this is a new kind of security problem, and one that the industry is going to have to work on together.
All right, so there's that. Okay, now see, Amy, that actually addressed a couple things that you mentioned earlier in regards to why and when and what it could be utilized for and so on and so forth. So yeah, this Apple AirTag thing, please be aware of it. Like I said, it's a very small device, about yay big, that you can slip pretty much in any purse, bag, coat, what have you, and people are using them to track people. They're using them to track devices and coats, and using them to track cars and all of that. So this is something I need the word to be spread on, so we know that these things are available to folks, and that's how they're using it. I just realized in hearing that sound that I've actually heard that sound on somebody recently. That little gling, 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 the sound that it makes with the tracker. Somebody was being tracked at that moment, And I don't think her or I realized it. But yeah, so let me address some of these comments here. Thank you, Mel Million, for the Maces, by the way. Thank you, E, for coming through. This is a nightmare for DV situations. Protection order doesn't matter. Exactly. Well, if they could use that to figure out where you are at all times, definitely. 2021, they're injecting us with tracking devices. 2022, they're literally selling us tracking devices for cheap and making it super easy to traffic or stalk people, but marketing it for your lost keys and backpack. Exactly. And do know pretty much anything that they make for an Apple phone, they eventually make for an Android phone. So if they have not already made a device similar to this for an Android phone, trust and believe soon there will be one, especially now that it's starting to be more popularized based on these stories. But also for those of you who are concerned and say, okay, well, I'm an Android user. I do not have any way to figure out if I'm being tracked with one of these. Well, actually, you do. Another story that I looked up basically put me up on this device here. You see here, this is called Tracker Detect. This is basically the Android version of what you saw for the Apple. And basically, if you push the scan button, let's just push it now, it will basically start scanning. And if you have any of these devices within basically 100 to 150 foot range of you, that is in your car or on your person or like even next door, it should scan and be able to find it and let you know that it exists. Tile, that is also very similar to what we're talking about. You're right. It's been around for a while now, but it doesn't have the scope that this particular AirTag does. Samsung has a smart tag that came out with the last couple of years, right? Like the Tile's a little bit bigger than this here. Demetrius is in the building, also known as Big Meech to all of y'all. What up, Bigster? There's going to be a way for it to be tracked by your Google. If you can look at my home for a Google map search, you know, as I said, I'm literally showing you this here on this Android phone that is scanning that. So yes, there is a way for that. And of course, if I can do it with the phone, more than likely I can do it with a tablet or a desktop or laptop or anything of that nature. The Apple tag is different because it connects to iPhone devices to triangulate your location. That's some Black Mirror stuff. Indeed, indeed. Indeed, indeed. So, like I said, if you are interested, the name of that for the Android is called Tracker Detect. And then, of course, if you have an Apple phone, you basically look up Apple iTag Tracker, and you could look it up and put it on that phone. Although it's automatic settings for it already built into any phone that is a iPhone 10 or higher, as I recall. So basically, if you have one of these iPhones, as I do here with the other phone, you'll be able to do so. But you can track folks on Facebook. They have the friends of my area thingy. This is the way you know how close folks are. It's crazy. And yes, they have that for the iPhone as well, where you can track other iPhone users or people that are on your Instagram. And I believe your TikTok too for that. Not TikTok. The other one. Give me a second, y'all. Snapchat. There we go. They have that for the Snapchat also. So yeah, this is something that definitely should be concerning to us because people are starting to use these technologies for bad things, okay? They are not being utilized for the things that they were initially used for. People are using the brains to think, okay, how can I get over? How can I use this as a multiple stream of income as opposed to getting up off my butt cheeks and earning my own? Meech is also saying, but then again, the dating apps can tell you how close folks are to you. So the technology is here, just not as sophisticated yet. I mean, I'm here on the Beagle right now. Beagle has a setting where you can find out how close that certain broadcasters are. So yeah, absolutely, many of these. So when you see that thing that says, can you track my location? Oftentimes it will give you an option on the iPhone saying, okay, track location just using the app, track location period, or don't track at all. That's something you might want to pay attention to. Remember, a lot of these things have those little small prints at the bottom, or has those, okay, first you must agree to the terms and conditions thereof. Oftentimes we just blow past that, push accept, and keep it moving. but that is the way they can utilize these things and not be sued for them later on, because they've already written it into those little bylaws. There's lots of location services that can track you and your location based on your cell, GPS, or anything else that is a device. But the AirTag is small enough to be covert and accessible to Joe Smo, not just your friendly neighborhood hacker. Exactly. That's what makes these far more dangerous, particularly if you're doing it and you have a child or something like that in mind. Basically, they see that and they just basically feel like it's some type of speed pass thing or whatnot. They think it's cute. They may think it's a little Pokemon button. They just walk around with it. Meanwhile, they letting the stalker know everywhere they go, where their parents stay, the whole deal. And I'm sure there'll be some hackers that'll be sophisticated enough to figure out, okay, now that I know where you are, let me now hack into your computer system in your house so I can use your cam or use your doorbell ring and all of that stuff to see what's going on with you on top of everything else. So that is why things like this are very concerning, and we need to monitor how they're being utilized and make sure that people are aware of it, because these devices, they will continue to get smaller and more complicated and be able to do a variety of other things. Remember, we're talking 20 years ago, all this phone basically did was ring and play a couple of the music tones. Now think about what these devices are able to do at this point. And that technology is only getting better and better as the years go on. So, of course, people will use that. Mel says, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that is the concern. That's why I definitely want to put that out there this evening, that these devices do exist, and this is some of the things they're being used for. So, pretty much person beware. Like I said, I find myself fortunate now that I do have both an Apple phone and an Android phone, so I can be familiar with how both of them work and some of the good and bad of both. So there's that. Now, basically, that's that story. So again, friends, please spread the word. Let people know. Every now and then, kind of do an inventory. Like, okay, I don't think that should be in my pocket. What is that? You know, you're not going to always check your car every day, but, you know, once in a while when you clean and kind of look to see, wait a minute, what's this in between the seat? And definitely listen out for that little beep. I understand it's not a loud beep, but if you're just sitting there quietly and all of a sudden you hear that, you might want to get to looking around or basically hit up the scanner and see if you find something. Because you might be the one that they're trying to find. So while you're worried about them injecting the trackers into your body, all they got to do is just slide it in your bag or just put it on your phone or slide it in your purse. If they really want to track you, people, they can. Please know that. But anyway, another FYI is the government is setting up a website. That website should be operational on the 19th of this month. It is for those people who are looking to order test kits and or masks, such as these, for your personal use. The government is going to buy a whole bunch of these things and make them available to the general public, whether you are insured or uninsured, for free. You basically just put in the information so it can be mailed to you, and they will mail you some masks that are N95. For those of you who don't know, the CDC has now suggested in its latest changing of things that you should have an N95 mask to wear as opposed to the cloth variety. But if you still are wearing the cloth, you want one with multiple layers, such as this, like a thicker layer or thinner layer, or one where you can add an additional layer, similar to that one, or this one here, where you basically have the opening where you can add an additional layer, such as this, to the mask. So they're saying that you should go with those because Omicron is very, very, very contagious. And part of the problem is that we are not utilizing the mask properly anyway. And a lot of the masks that we are passing as masks are just those thin little varieties with just 2 paper towel layers. You've seen all the little medical looking masks that look like that. But basically you want one. And again, people, you want to wear it snugly on your face where it covers your nose and your mouth. This is not getting anything done. This does not help. Then you wonder, how come I don't ever do nothing? I always got my mask, but yet I got COVID. For many of you, this is why. But I live in Detroit, where oftentimes in my travels, many of us still not wearing no masks. Many of the people 40 years and younger in the city of Detroit not vaccinated at all. Not one shot, not fully, not no booster, no nothing. So I know this is definitely a hotbed for COVID. The numbers indicate that as well. Yeah, sure, that go well. Exactly. You already know there will probably be a problem with that website by the end of the week. Sad but true. But let's see how it plays out. We're trying to do anything we can to work off this problem. But the thing I need people to think about, and what we'll talk about when we get back to the show, is what happens next. Are you truly ready for life after COVID? Do you understand some of the deficiencies that's going to come into play? Have you thought about some of the things that are going to be affected long term by COVID-19? I have. Sorry, man, I'm Super J. A. Understood, Amy. Understood. Pound Cake in the building. What's going on, Pound Cake? But yes, folks, we're going to have that discussion when we get back. This is Get Off My Lawn Live. I am your host, E-Beezy, Eric Buck. And shout out to my people over there at Dish and Tea. I definitely want to talk to you guys soon about some things. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to promote you as we always do here on the network, because that show will follow this one later on this evening. So please check it out and check out my peoples. Here they go right here.
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my tea sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comforts together, because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
Nikki. Let's talk. Let's Nikki. Let's talk. Let's talk. Nikki. Let's talk. Nikki.
The views and opinions expressed here on Get Off My Lawn Live are those of the host or his guests and do not necessarily reflect those of the Nighthawk Network or its associates. Viewer and listening discretion is advised. All right, y'all, what's going on? E-Buck is back. Get Off My Lawn Live. We are in the building here to talk to y'all this evening about the things that we need to talk about as people. And one of those I definitely feel we need to start to have the discussion about is life after COVID-19. Now, from where I sit, here's where we are. As you see, this Omicron variant, not Omicron, not Omarion, or all the other derivatives thereof, is Omicron. Omicron. At any rate, we now are experiencing numbers where basically over 1 million people per day are being diagnosed with COVID. That's not counting the people that are testing at home or basically have determined that I'm not going to go get no tests. I don't care if everybody else in the house did it. I'm not doing it. So there are those people. Needless to say, this probably will go on, according to some of the experts, for the next 2 to 4 weeks, as we still dealing with the after holidays numbers and all of that. Now, what I'm hoping, and again, at this point, this is not based on any information, this is just my hope, is that this is the last major wave of COVID. That at this point, many people that didn't have it before with the Delta or the original, now will have had it. They will have some antibodies for however long they last. And because of that, at that point, the numbers will go down significantly from this point forward. Hopefully to a point where we can say, okay, if we just got, say, 10,000 people a day testing positive and maybe 40 or 50, let's just say 100 people die per day. That'll be enough numbers, I think, for the powers that be, for the 1% to say, we could work around that. We're not going to worry about trying to get people vaccinated and stuff no more. We're just going to open back up society. And if you get it, you had your chance to get vaccinated, that's on you. I do believe we will get to that point, and I think that may very well happen by the end of this year. So when we get to that point, at that point, there are two things that definitely need to be considered. Thing one, people who make money like to continue to make money. Their job, as far as they are concerned, is to make this money and keep making it and make up for whatever money I didn't make after the fact. So that being said, the larger corporations, they are going to look to recoup their losses. So for the things that we discussed in terms of inflation right now, this is just the beginning. The numbers are going to go up, people. We already got companies like Amazon considering going up more for the Amazon Prime each month. You already got Netflix going up this month. Once again, Disney Plus has already did their price increase. You got Target, Walmart, Myers, those types of places. They will start increasing the prices of some of the products that sell on a regular basis. So don't be surprised if your toilet paper, your milk, your cheese, your bread, all that goes up another 10, 25, 50 cents. Of course, they will say part of it is because of production costs and lack of worker productivity based on the pandemic and all of that. But no, bottom line is there was a point in time where the money wasn't flowing the way it was pre-pandemic. We got to get that money back because we are going based on this. When we get to this, that throws off what we had planned for bonuses and stock options and all of that. We need to get all that back. So that's what a lot of those major corporations will be looking to do. So don't be surprised around this time of Christmas when everything costs $20, $50, $100 more. It's going to happen. That's going to happen. That's not even me being an expert or nothing. That's just me using my brain to figure that out for myself. Second thing we got to consider, all the prices of everything else that we utilize during the summer months will go up. Gas will go up because more people will be like, okay, now we can travel since we ain't got to worry about the whole COVID situation and being tested and whatnot. Because you figure at some point they'll be like, well, whether you have the vaccine or not, you might as well just go ahead and travel. We ain't gonna worry about it no more. Just wear a mask when you've been. Because keep in mind, I think that's the one thing that we do keep long term is the wearing of the mask on the mass transportation. As long as COVID is still somewhat of a threat, I think at least for the next year or two, we will be required to wear masks on all transportation, which includes ride share and the local buses and whatnot. So please stop tripping about this stuff, people. Just do it. Just understand. You got to wear a shirt, pants, shoes, mask. Look at it like that. Okay, got a comment here. Hold on, y'all. You better say that. These folks are looking to recoup their losses. This inflation has nothing to do with Democrats being in power. Absolutely nothing. This is all about making the profit line as close to normal as possible. Because like I said, remember, in the end, it's not the Democrats running things. It's not the Republicans. We have had both in the last 4 years. And do you see much of difference outside of the fact that our president ain't just a raving lunatic at this point? But yeah, there are definitely some similarities in how the country's being ran now and how it was ran in the previous administration. We still don't have no cooperation between Democrat, Republican, like we were promised we would. We still got people out for self. in both of those houses of representatives and in the Senate. We got a president that's basically frustrated and bit off more than he could chew at this point, but basically is not able to come up with a lot of the campaign promises that he promised. So basically set himself up to fail. And then on the other hand, what do we have for a replacement? Do we dare set ourselves up to deal with all that again in a couple of years? It's possible. As much as I hate to admit it, it's all setting up a certain way. Inflation isn't political anyway, is it, Lordy? No, it shouldn't be. But the sad thing is companies are always wanting the public to take the hit. They are still on the profit side of things, but they want their cushion to be very dense. So the employees and the public take the hit. Exactly. Remember, when they had these reports, it's basically like, okay, profits are down. Note what I said. Profits are down. In other words, we made money. We didn't make as much as we did this day or that year or so on. So in the end, it's not just about making the money. It's about making the most money possible. That is the true American dream, to be as rich as you possibly can be and to hold that money for as long as you possibly can. That is how the rich stay richer, right? By utilizing what they can in terms of tax breaks and whatnot to keep themselves well situated for generations and generations. So when we talk about generational wealth, that is part of what comes into play with it all. Being able to keep your stacks and continue to add to said stacks. That part. But these are things we need to think about. Understand, some of y'all are saying, look, I ain't been affected by COVID. I still do what I want to do anyway. It don't matter to me. Understand, you are part of the problem. You will continue to be part of the problem. Those of you who choose not to be vaccinated, not because you have any good logical reason, but just because you're scared. Some of y'all, I really need you to look in the mirror and admit that to yourself. I don't want to take the vaccine because I'm scared. I heard about the 2 people that died from taking the vaccine and had adverse effects, and I'm scared I'm going to be one of them. That's why I'm not going to do it. As I'm sitting here on the platform now, which is Bigo, many of you have told me whenever I have this show and these discussions, or I'm not taking the vaccine, or I'm not vaccinated, I'm not going to do it. There are several of you who feel that way. I understand that. I respect your decision. I just don't agree with it. At some point, we got to realize we've tried it that way, and we still got COVID. We've tried it to where people are vaccinated, they still got COVID. We got to come in the middle somewhere. I've said this time and time again. But here's something. Whenever the economy is stimulated, we go through inflation. It's supply and demand, the rules of inflation. But it's a very political unnecessarily. And understand, you as a learned person, Mr. Taylor, and you, Miss Amy, are also educated. For the vast majority of people, a lot of this conversation, quite frankly, I feel is, and that's not me saying, oh, I'm smarter than you. No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is most of you don't care. All you care about is your day-to-day operations and what you are able to do from day to day. As I've said before on the show, this is not necessarily the podcast or broadcast for people that live a day-to-day life. Where in the end, oh, okay, I woke up, I got high, I got drunk, I had sex, I got a little money, I'm good. For some of y'all, that is life, period. And as long as you can continue to maintain that, you good. You Gucci, as some of the kids will say. But for some of us that think beyond the realm of just our personal self, that actually thinks about our families, our communities, and whatnot, these are the thought processes that we need to be concerned with. Because somewhere down the line, hopefully, we are the people that run the house, not the people that's just there. The people that just alive, the people that just wake up, let's do it all over again. You are right. Folks don't give a flying flip until it hits them directly. Exactly. That's why I find it crazy that I go here on my Facebook platform and see everybody like, I can't believe it. Now I got the Rona. As if to say, oh, no, I wasn't never supposed to get it. It wasn't never supposed to affect me. But you the same person that I seen living their best life all summer last year. Had to go to Houston and Dallas and and California and all that. And now these places are just as bad off of COVID as here, but of course they are dumbing down their numbers or fudging them, whatever the case may be. I refuse to believe that COVID is this bad here and it's not that bad down in those places where everything is wide open. I refuse to believe that. Their numbers are false. I say it, I mean it. I trust them not, because they don't want to close society down that way. Remember, states like Florida and Texas, they don't have no state income tax. All their money is opening that way. A lot of their money comes from tourism, I should say. Texas and Florida, California. So, of course, they want to keep things open. Of course, they want things to be as wide and free as possible so they can keep them dollars coming in. In the end, this is part of why, in fact, I would go as far to say this is the main reason why we are in the situation we are with COVID right now. That mean green, all about how much we can stuff in one of these, plain and simple. We don't care about nothing else. In the end, as long as I'm okay enough to get this money and spend this money and make some more of that money, I'm good. I think Florida's number, I promise you they not. Florida and Texas, with those two individuals that run those places. And I would say as far as Georgia too, for that matter, I'll throw him in that mix. Governor Kemp, he ain't much better than his counterparts in that regard. It's a lot of hokum pokum going on in all three of them states. And truthfully, it's some hokum pokum going on here. When we get to talking about how the numbers have not been properly looked at in terms of the long care term facilities and who's actually dying there from COVID as opposed to having COVID in their system and whatnot. It's a lot of confusion in regards to a lot of that stuff. But the point is, at some point, they're going to just list it as casualties of war, people. Remember, the first thing everybody wanted to point out early on in the pandemic is it's just like the flu. People die from the flu every year. Everybody ain't all in panic about that. It's 10, 20,000 people a year die from the flu. Didn't nobody care? Well, somebody cared. They just didn't care enough. And now, of course, that the numbers are double that for COVID. If we get to the point where we're at that same level as it is for the flu, then yeah, people gonna stop caring. Ain't nobody gonna shut down nothing at that point, because they're gonna feel like either you should have been vaccinated, or you should have been in better shape, or you should have basically been around people that weren't out and about like that. You got COVID, that's on you. We're not paying for nothing. You want the vaccine now, it's going to cost you, so on and so forth. Of course, yeah, they're working on medicines that will help to cure, well, not cure, but basically calm down your COVID. In other words, they'll get to the point where it's like you take this Advil for something, you take, okay, you got COVID, here goes COVID in. Take 2 of these for 5 days and you good to go. They'll eventually get to that point. They're working toward that. But in the meanwhile, we still stuck with this situation. And the people that are catching the tail end of it, those are the ones we really need to think about. Because when I consider the future after COVID, those are the people who will dictate what happens. People by the thousands, folks, have quit the medical profession during COVID, primarily because we don't care. We don't care about them. We don't care that we've been working them 12, 16 hours a day, taking care of all our sick butts because we refuse to believe. They don't care that here they are curing for people, and then 3 months later you turn around and that same person is back in the hospital with COVID again. Imagine how that makes you feel when you go to work every single day knowing that, well, I wonder how many people are going to die today. That is not a good feeling, folks. I have dealt with a person recently in tears. And I'm like, what's the matter? This is the 5th day in a row I went to work and somebody died. This person works in a long-term care facility, okay? And yes, oftentimes people die there because that's the older part of the population. I understand that. But when it's getting to happen every day and the same reason, cause of death is COVID related, that's got to mess with your psyche. So those people are starting to leave the profession, and people are not lining up to take their place in droves. in terms of people and going to school and what they're trying to go to school for now is a lot less people saying, yeah, let me sign up to be a doctor or a nurse or some type of medical profession. A lot less people doing that these last few years. Lady on the plane got busted by another pastor. They screenshotted her text that said she had COVID and didn't tell anyone. And then there's that. Those of y'all walking around full COVID, the cough, the chills, the whole thing. And you saying, no, I got to go make money, or no, I got to go out. I ain't that sick. It's just like when I had a cold, or just like when I had the flu, I went to work then. So I need to go to work now. And then that's something else we need to think about. Remember, oftentimes there was an issue, particularly for those of us in the room that have worked in the food industry. When you call off sick and the manager asks you why, what's wrong with you? And oftentimes we were instructed as managers, look, they say they just got a little cold. You got them come in, just kind of put them somewhere where they're not going to be in front of the people. They can still come to work. Don't short yourself based on that. And then, of course, more times than not, it's said that when people call off from work and they use sick as an excuse, usually they're not that sick. But here's the thing. With COVID, you don't know who's that sick and who's not. So, of course, the CDC recommends if anybody has any type of sickness, don't have them work. But then companies are saying, we done already missed out on so much money. Why on earth am I going to short myself even more by somebody who thinks they're sick or somebody that might be? So that's why it's being recommended that we should test everybody in terms of COVID before they come in to work. But yet, as you see, it went straight to Supreme Court. Supreme Court said, no, y'all can't do that. That's taking away too many people's personal freedoms. You got to give them the option. So now here we go. We got the option. Who's going to use it? Just like I mentioned earlier with the website. Are you actually going to hit that up and get you some free tests and test yourself? Oftentimes, that will probably be option 4 with y'all. Well, I got to get this test, otherwise they ain't going to let me punch in or they ain't going to let me go on this trip. So, yeah, let me hit the website. Let me test myself. Don't even put it in properly. Don't look at no instructions. Oh, I'm good. I tested me. I'm good. Because that's going to be part of the problem, too. We're going to get these tests, take them home, utilize them, get a lot of false negatives, false positives based on not utilizing them properly. Because we already established that that's why we got the kids going to school, because they don't do good on online learning. They need that personal one-on-one instruction. And I personally think for some of y'all, that's some BS, by the way. I'm going to say that much. I know part of that is just from me speaking on myself, thinking about all the things I've learned in this last couple of years just being online. But in terms of some of y'all not letting your child put in that effort because you're not willing to put in that effort, because you were never willing to put in that effort in school. A lot of y'all passed school because they allowed you to pass. It wasn't because you earned it. It wasn't because you knew the material the way you needed to. It's because they rubber stamped you and you went on your way. And the last thing you ever wanted to do was be in school again, let alone with your child. Not to mention the whole factor of you starting to see that some of our children are way smarter than we are, just based on what they got them learning, and we have no understanding thereof. There's that. And while I speak of that, let me talk about our teachers. That's another thing definitely that will be affected after COVID. There are people now that are changing their majors in college, saying, okay, that's how they doing the teachers? No, I don't want no parts of that. I'm good. There are teachers that are retiring early because they are just fed up. They're fed up with the whole situation. You basically left them out there to dry with the whole COVID situation. They thinking they're about to go back to these schools in the fall, and all this money from the Biden relief plan was supposed to help them make those classrooms safe and all of that. And some of our largest outbreaks of COVID are still in classrooms. And then you wonder why teachers in Chicago and other places are saying, no, I'm not trying to go back there until they get us together. Road is saying, and you also have to wonder how long has it been sitting on that shelf, because its shelf life decreases after a while. I'm not quite sure what that's in regards to, but that's a lot of things, truthfully, including after a while when we deal with these COVID vaccines and whatnot. They do have a shelf life of their own where the effectiveness probably will wear off. But because we have so many extra on stock, and the right thing to do, obviously, is we're not going to utilize them, send them to other places around the world where they would, because that also will help to control the spread. Because in the end, if we all vaccinated here in America, but all the other major countries still at 30, 40%, guess what? We still got COVID, and it's still an issue. What we going to do at that point? Say, okay, if you don't belong here in America, don't come here, and then cut down the economy that way? Because amazingly enough, United States is a tourist attraction. We're going to do that? I think it's good to consider that a portion of people don't want remote learning because they have LDs or spectrum disorders that prevent remote learning from. Now, like I said, Amy, do not misconstrue what I'm saying. I did say some. I did mean some. Understand, I studied to be an educator. That was once upon a time my minor. I have been a tutor to people. I do understand people with learning disabilities and dyslexic and autistic and all of that. When I have that discussion, I'm not speaking on those people. I know how difficult it is to teach people with those type of learning disabilities. I know that firsthand. I'm speaking on basic student A who is not being put in a position to succeed by the parents or the school. Where basically you're saying, okay, well, you in school today. Sit here and learn this. It's not going down the way you think it's going down in that school, where basically at that point, Johnny's sitting there and he has a question, and the teacher's like, okay, Johnny, you're not understanding. Let me explain it a little better. Boom, 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 boom. Half these kids, they go into class, they don't understand, and they ain't saying nothing. Just like they didn't say nothing when they was at home with you. They ain't learning no better in school than out of school. The only major difference for them in that case is that, well, at least Johnny's in school, so I have time to go to work or time to have my peace of mind before Johnny get home and I got to deal with his butt. Because, you know, some of these parents, they're not real parents, okay? They're not no Amy. They basically have kids for the tax breaks and for you to say, okay, I got a kid. They bother with them when they want to be bothered with them. And at other times, they just a nuisance to them. You know that's how some of these parents are. These are the people I speak on. The PAPs, as you know, I have now started to call them. The PAPs, the punk A parents, okay? That is the discussion I'm having with them right now. All parents are not doing that. Some of y'all are doing an excellent job of raising your kids, and you are to be commended, absolutely. But for those of you who are not, listen up. We talking to y'all. Get off my lawn. Yeah, I said it. We talking to y'all. And right now, the way y'all dealing with y'all kids is making it to where some of our good educators are saying, I done did my 30 years. I'm good. Thank you, Beauty Glow. Appreciate you. Okay, hold on. They have kids to prove they had sex. Exactly. That part, brother. That part right there. Thank you, Beauty Glow. Thank you very much for all those gifts. See you. Some people just don't want to learn, and the school assumes they have a disability. That part as well. They basically play it like that. That they see these kids don't want to. They don't have a great desire to push them in the right direction. So they basically just charge them to the game. Oh, he just slow. Put him in the class with the other slow folks. And it goes that way. Understand, I lived in a household with 3 kids. We all had the same parent. We all were pushed to do our best in school. 2 of us did that. 1 of us, not so much. You know who you are. Yeah, I put you out there, my baby. But that's not to say that you weren't able to. That person's quite intelligent, the person I speak of. That is part of why I'm having that part of the discussion. It was just that for whatever reason, they chose not to take advantage of what they were capable of. And it wasn't pushed enough by either the educator or the parent or the combination of the 2. That's just one of many people in that boat. But we are not trying hard enough to get these kids together. It's a reason why we have fallen behind in terms of our education as opposed to the rest of the world. China and Japan and Taiwan and places like that, they deal with education differently. The households look at it differently. It's almost like, okay, you can't come in here and not get no good grades at all. That's not acceptable. Some of us like, well, at least you tried. You got C's, that's okay. And for some parents, that's good enough. As long as they graduate, they don't care about no GPAs or none of that. It's all love for them. And the thing is, the teachers that actually do care enough to say, yeah, little Johnny need a little more help, and we both can help him together, those are the educators that's saying, nah, I've had enough. I can't do this. They don't appreciate me. They're not paying me enough. I'm moving on. I'm retiring early, those types of things. That is my concern in this time after COVID. Again, remember a lot of what went on in terms of the riots and police from the George Floyd to the Blakes and all of that. A lot of that has caused people to say, law enforcement, no, I'm good. I'm retiring. I'm not going into that. So we are going to have harder time finding law enforcement officials as the years go on. Not necessarily because of COVID, but during that COVID, this is where we have learned that our law enforcement agencies need some work, and some people, they ain't going to be willing to put in that work. Especially when you look at some of these law enforcement agencies, and basically if you are a manager at Target or at your local Wendy's, you make just as much or even a little more than an officer on the street. That ain't going to get it done. That ain't going to work. When basically you are an educator, and not only are you not making enough money to keep everything going so that you have to have a summer job as well, but you also are utilizing some of your money to help your class because they're not giving you enough money for supplies. They're not giving you any supplies at all. Why would you want to keep buying into that? And then, of course, there's the people in the long-term care facilities that have been working hard to keep our elderly in a good place. Many of them have not made the type of monies that they should. They are not getting the type of benefits. They're not getting the type of love to where you say, long term, this is something I definitely got to do and keep doing for the low, low price. When I was in first grade, I didn't want to learn, got put in special ed, even though I was not slow, and I was in special ed until I got to high school. Your story is a common one, my friend. I've dated such people. I've befriended such people. I've employed such people. Very bright people. But because they were not pushed or basically nudged in the right directions in regards to school, that is where they ended up. So I get that. I think Omar Epps, not Omar Epps, but Mike Epps. He talks about that often in his comedy, how they was putting him in a special ed class, not because he was dumb, but because he was a knucklehead, didn't want to act right. So they put him in the classes because of that. He knew he didn't belong there, but yet and still, the problem children, that's where they put him now. They put him in special ed. They put him in other little situational classes where, okay, this is where all our problem children are. You've seen that movie. What's that, Dangerous Minds? Where they put all the kids that basically was some type of issue, but in the end you find out they are quite intelligent, and then they just were not given the proper motivations. Those are the teachers that we are losing, folks. And we're going to end up with basic teacher A that's going to be looking to not so much educate, but to babysit. Because in the end, for some of y'all parents, y'all PAP parents, that's all you want. You want that 7 to 8 hours to yourself to do whatever you feel you need to do, to lay up, smoke, drink, go to work, whatever it is. And then when they come home, as long as they done learned something, you good with that. And then you feel like it's not your job to teach them anything outside of the basics. You all right with teaching them, here's a spoon, here's a fork, this is how you eat your food. Anything else you can learn in school. In some districts, it's worse. They're not separating the kids at all, and teachers aren't equipped to handle those kids with behavioral issues. Exactly. You are exactly right about that, Amy. So what are we to do, people? My point is this. These are the things that keep me up at night, okay? I don't sleep well. Part of it because I just don't sleep well. It's a physical thing. But mentally, these things keep me up because I think about them. I think about them very deeply and seriously, to the point that that's why I have this platform that allows me to speak upon it, so that some of you, in the hopes that you may figure, okay, let's see what the crazy boy talking about this week, can tune in and say, hey, he makes a good point. I didn't think about it that way. Let me kind of figure this out different. If I can get one person every week to do that, then I've done my job as a broadcaster here. That's why I broadcast some of the other people in the network, so that their words can kind of touch your head in that way too. Like, you know what Meech said, or what Nikki said, or what Stan said, that made a lot of sense. Let me think about it a little different. That is part of why the Nighthawk Network is here, people. We are also here to promote some of your goods. We still have not done a lot of that here on the show. I did meet a young lady, and I have yet to get in touch with her, but she has a website called the Home of Serenity, and it's basically part her selling goods, part fundraiser for people looking to get housing or to be helped with housing. I'm hoping to have her on the show in a couple weeks to discuss this, but I definitely want to give her a shout out. Again, this is the Home of Serenity. You should be able to find it online. The online actually is thehomeofserenity.org. You can find her at thehomeofserenity.org. So check that out if you get a minute. They have also taken out the social workers, and most of the guidance counselors are now there to guide you. They push you out over the next person and out of their hair. Remember, here in the city of Detroit, graduation rate a little bit over 40%. Out of that 40%, the average GPA, as I recall, is a little bit under 2.4. That's passing with pretty much C plus, maybe B minus. So then we get the kids to go to college. As you know, basically 1 out of every 5 people of color are attending college. Most of them are female, by the way. And out of that, only about a third of them are graduating with a bachelor degree, and even less than that with any master's degree, and very few of them with doctorates. So there's that. Thank you, B Stylist. We got to think about the future, people. We got to learn from our past. Those who don't learn from the past are doing the repeated. We got to consider where we go from here. No, COVID is not over yet, but if this is to be the worst of it and it starts to go that way, at some point, the powers that be, and I'm not talking about the Democrat, Republican powers that be, I'm talking about the powers that be will decide, hey, for those of y'all that ain't got it, we ain't worried about it. We got all the medicine stuff we need now for COVID. So we get sick, we gonna be all right. For those y'all who didn't choose to get vaccinated and all that, and you can't afford to get yourself better, well, you had your chance. We let them hook y'all up. Now you're on your own. They died. Oh well, let them make a one of those pages. Maybe that'll be enough to get them buried or cremated or whatever, and life will go on. So if that's what you're looking forward to, you just want life to go on, get tired of them talking about COVID, get tired of me talking about COVID every day, that time is coming. The question is, will it be a time where you can truly move forward, or will it be your day of reckoning? That's for you to figure out and decide, my friends. And that being said, we are about to get up out of here. Again, I want to shout out my peoples in the Nighthawk Network support group, as well as the people in the Nighthawk Network itself, people like Big Meech that has chimed into the show. Thank you, sir, for your contributions to the conversation. Appreciate that. You, of course, can find Big Meech on Dish and Tea with Big Meech and Aunt Nikki and Big Red weekends around 9 or 9:30, depending on what's going on. Tonight, it is said what I said Sundays, where they allow you to come on and speak for a few minutes on what is on your mind. as Meech would tell you, and I will second that, if you come in on a bag, trying to act up and whatnot, Meech and them coming with a bigger bag. And let me tell you, I done heard these people talk. You don't want that. You don't want that smoke. Especially if him and Nikki and Red in the room at the same time, and you come clowning, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly. I don't suggest you do that. They don't play that. You got Stan Mason behind the blue curtain, Saturdays at 11 a.m. I think he is now have the Facebook thing settled. You know, last few weeks he was having an issue with Facebook taking off the broadcast, so hopefully he's got that worked out. I think he does. Pastor Sean Love Presents will be back this week. He did send me the latest episode. I will post that probably tomorrow or Tuesday. Again, the special project that I was working on, my friends. Let me see, did I get that together for y'all right quick? I did not. Okay, but look, this person here, my friends, you see that? That is H2, gone but not forgotten. And I'm not trying to let y'all forget either, because what happens is now on Mondays at 9, as opposed to Hey Bitches Live, which used to be the show that came on Monday, you now will get Hey Bitches Live, the best of. In order to properly send my brother off the way that they wanted with a season 3, we are going to give them the season 3 with the best of Hey Bitches Live. So for those of you who have been on past episodes, we are reaching out to you now. You have to come on through and discuss your time on the show, or how you knew one Helena Hologram, also known to the world as Derek Smith. We will also look at past episodes of the show. We'll talk about some of the behind the scenes things that went on in some of those episodes. Took a lot some weeks for us to get on the air and get situated. Sometimes it was just all in fun. Sometimes there was a lot going on behind the scenes that y'all didn't know about. So because I am the associate producer, I have a lot of that information, and I will share some of it with you. And we also want you to share with us how you knew H2, how y'all came to know one another. That's something H2 definitely wanted to do with season 3. Kind of talk about how she got some people started in the business and how she got to meet certain people and they became part of her life. So definitely we'll be doing that. And of course, there is my cousin, Dr. Marla Facey, who has her show known as No Weapon Formed Against Us. That show now is no longer on Thursdays. That will be on Mondays now at 8 p.m. as opposed to Thursday. So we'll have that for you tomorrow as well. And of course, there's the Monumental Moments in God's Word, which I believe now is on Tuesdays. So you can see that on Tuesday. And we have some other things, of course, planned for the Nighthawk Network in the weeks and months to come. So stay tuned for that. We have some technical difficulties, so I ain't been able to work on a lot of the things that I would like to, but the upgrades are coming. The upgrades are coming. And when they do, we will bring all that to you then. With that being said, my good people, we about to head up out of here. Again, shout out to Meech and the crew. I think I will make an appearance on tonight's show if you let me. And then, of course, for y'all in the Bigo streets, I will be doing that After Dark that we know as the Chill Zone. We'll be doing that tonight, 10:30 p.m. to 12, playing some of the fine slow jams that I like to play. I know B Stylist, that's one of your favorite shows that I do. So definitely want to do that. See you later, my friend. Thank you very much for the gifts, and thank all of you for your comments and your love. We'll be back here next week with another episode of Get Off My Lawn Live. After that, we will take a week break that following week, but then we'll be back. And of course, tomorrow, we may also bring you a special episode of Game Time Audible. We didn't forget about Game Time Audible, my sports podcast. Night, Eric. Great show. Thank you, Amy. Thank you for your contributions as always. And again, as I said, thanks to all of y'all. Until next week, or at least till tomorrow, y'all be safe. Remember, as Stan Mason often says, life is not a Trump rally. We still in the midst of the pandemic. Not only wear your mask, but please wear it properly so that you do not end up in Omicron's very steely grip, because Omicron ain't playing with us. So don't play with it, okay? That's all I'm saying. Till next time, we are out of here. Bye-bye.